Welcome to the Mashup.
Tell me whether I'm wrong or right. East or west, up or down, side to side. I sit to stand and fall to fly. Of all of my impulsive plans, pop and lock and salsa dances on demand. I follow leading off the map and stop the chatter, scream happily.
Welcome to the Mashup.
Welcome to the mashup. Welcome to the welcome to the mashup.
Welcome to the Mashup.
So first off, thank you for that. Although I'm sure when Sean comes on, he's going to say the exact same thing. If you have an employer that you just kind of have a verbal agreement with, this isn't about me, to be clear, but there is nothing wrong at all with getting it in writing so that years down the road, something doesn't come to bite you in the ass. If everything's on the up and up, they're not going to have any issues with it. And if they're pushing back, it's probably for a reason. So just a friendly heads up out there that getting things in writing goes a long way.
Mashup 138, folks. Me and
Sean's
Tuesday
excited.
Yeah, I was doing this like just
It was morose.
You know what? It's Friday. Happy Friday, everyone. Happy Mashup 138. We're running into Christmas season. I know people are probably traveling or getting ready to travel, and they're probably stressed because they're getting all their work done. I was just saying it too. He goes, "How you doing? You seem a little somber this morning." I'm like, I podcasted an awful lot this week in preparation for next week. Now, yeah. You heard a new song. Me and Tooz had some issues in the background on this thing called YouTube. So we've been searching for a new opening song.
Can I explain them real quick?
Yeah, give her.
All right. So the song that we've been using forever is a sample of a couple different songs mashed up together. And we have permission from the person who made that song with it all mashed up together to use that song.
Correct.
But YouTube didn't hear it as the mashed up version. They heard it as one of the individual songs. And we got hit with a copyright notice. You're like, okay, so now we've got to go with, maybe going to them again and proving that, yeah, we still have permission to use that song and that they have permission from the original artist to use that song. And so down the line, we're like, screw it. It's time anyway. And then the other copyright notice we got hit with was when we showed that like 1 minute clip from Landsman that got a bunch of people excited about the show. We got hit with the copyright notice. How stupid is Paramount Plus? We're bringing people to watch your show and you're hitting us with a copyright notice.
They don't care.
No,
they don't care.
They're idiots.
So henceforth, shout out to Kevin and to Spencer Richard. That's who did the first iteration that you just listened to. One of the things we've been talking an awful lot about, and now you're going to start to hear it, is leading into the new year, we're going to start to mess with a few things at the start of the mashup, a new mashup intro for multiple reasons in the background. So there's your breaking news to start it. We got a new intro song. So we're hoping to mash a couple things up because that's what it's all about on here. Mashup 138. Happy Airborne Friday to Jamie Sinclair and the boys. Happy Friday to everybody. If you're watching right now, like, subscribe. You're watching on X. I feel like there's a few of you watching on X. Hit the retweet button, right? It'd be nice to have a few extras tuning in on the old X machine.
Like, share, get a Tooz tattoo. And if you get it on your butt, then when you bend over, it'll be 202.
Happy Friday, everybody. Man,
happy Friday.
I tell you what, we're Tooz, you doing any, before we get into the show, how you guys going, you and the missus, Tooz, going anywhere for Christmas or right at home?
At home.
At home.
At home. Little quick family visits, but that's it. Not traveling too far afield.
Well, if anybody's watching and is going anywhere cool, comment it. I'd love to hear about some people going in some places, even if it is on this side, Hillmont, Saskatchewan. That's where we're heading. But we get to go into the rink, do some skating, some tobogganing, some present opening, et cetera, et cetera. excited for. I'm excited for this. This is a nice, like, most holidays I got almost zero time for. They all seem kind of fictitious. This one I got a lot of time for, and I feel like Canada still treats it or kind of reveres it, whereas other times, like, I don't know. I think of Thanksgiving, it's kind of like, it's not a bad holiday. I like Thanksgiving. It's just,
It's better than the American version. Like, you're
I don't
still
know.
coming off your turkey coma from 3 weeks ago going into Christmas. Like,
Fair
space,
enough.
no,
You're saying
space yourself.
proximity. You're saying proximity.
Yeah.
Proximity. Fair
Yeah,
enough.
and also green bean casserole. Get the fuck out of here.
All right. Do we want to start? Coot 6.5 here. We're talking Christopher Carbert, Anthony Olenek. What we've changed here, obviously them getting sentenced to 6.5, is we've been bringing up different stories that, kind of fly in the face of what they got sentenced with. So the first is a former pediatrician in Fort McMurray in Edmonton will spend 1.5 years in jail for possession and distribution of child pornography. The sentencing of Ghassan Al-Nami was handed down this past Wednesday, and the case centered around a 45-second video showing a pubescent girl being abused that Al-Nami received and sent over Skype, as well as his participation in several graphic text exchanges that Davidson found constituted child pornography. And then the second story here in Canada, Manpreet Gill, Toronto area man involved
real
in
quick,
a
I want to touch
Sure.
on that real quick.
Sure.
He was convicted on 2 different things, one for a 12-month sentence, one for an 18-month sentence, and they're being served concurrently, which basically means that if you're guilty of this thing and you got to go for jail for a year, and you're guilty of the second thing and you got to go to jail for 1.5 years, you're serving both times at the same time. So basically, you just get the first one free, because that's what we do in our justice system in Canada. Yeah, just your first conviction, it's all free. It's fine.
The second one's Manpreet Gill, a Toronto area man involved in a robbery in April, leading to a high-speed chase and a deadly wrong-way crash on a busy highway, has been released on probation, warned he may still face immigration consequences. The chase ended in a multi-vehicle crash that killed 3-month-old and the 2 paternal grandparents who were visiting from India. We talked about this story, and the infant's parents were both injured. Now, Manpreet Gill, the guy in the vehicle driving, was killed. He was the passenger, but they were on the run from liquor store robberies. So,
basically, just the next time you're really frustrated with the government and you feel like there's need to change and you want to do some kind of a protest about that, mathematically speaking, you're better off to just drive the wrong way down the highway and kill a baby than to commit mischief. Mathematically speaking.
Trudeau's tough time. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau told Chrystia Freeland via Zoom call. It's like she took, I think it was McTavish with the Oilers tact on firing a coach over Zoom.
Actually,
anyways, doesn't matter.
Before we get into that, I just want to show this video from CBC.
Sure.
Talking about how this is all fake news. Fake news, everybody.
In his prepared remarks there, or I say prepared, he often speaks off the cuff in both French and English. He went on in what he called a soap opera drama type description of the events of the last 24 hours.
This is, by the way, our national media. She's 20 seconds into this clip and literally hasn't said anything yet.
It's kind of mocking it, calling it tragic. Just like a soap opera, I think some of the ways that he explained this might be veering towards fiction and quite speculative on his part. Some of what he was saying, particularly in terms of a deal being made with Mark Carney and Mark Carney no longer wanting the job, that is not something that lines up with reporting done by professional journalists to date. We still have a lot more we don't know, and that we.
Yeah. So it turns out, and then she goes on to say it's silly to suggest that he would fire her over Skype, and there's no way he would be stupid enough to fire her on the Friday and tell her that, her last act has to be to come in on Monday and give this shitty economic statement. And then it ended up being exactly correct. And that leads into your thing.
Prime Minister Justin Trudeau told Chrystia Freeland in a Zoom call on Friday that she was going to be replaced by Finance Minister, former central banker Mark Carney. 3 different Liberal sources have said the Prime Minister still expected her to deliver the economic fiscal update on Monday that showed how she would miss the government's promised $40.1 billion deficit target by more than $20 billion. And Mr. Carney obviously didn't take up the offer after Freeland resigned on Monday. And now we have Public Safety Minister Dominic LeBlanc taking over it. In a speech gathering, Mr. Trudeau alluded to the party infighting and loss of Miss Freeland as finance minister. He quoted, "It has been an eventful couple of days. It has not been easy. Like most families, we sometimes have fights over the holidays, and sometimes, like most families, we work our way through it."
This week has just been an absolute disaster for Trudeau. He ended on... you had Anthony Housefather talking to Vashi Kapelos. Basically, he's saying Trudeau needs to be done. He needs to leave. And his main points that he was making was that really good Liberal members of Parliament aren't going to get reelected if Trudeau sticks around. Not that he's been an absolute bastard, just shit show for the country, but if the Liberals don't get rid of Trudeau as a leader, we're all going to be out of jobs. That's his main concern. And he goes on CTV and talks about this. And then also you've got you had that by-election that same night that we did the mashup coverage of this. By the way, if you haven't watched that, check it out. Two's talked for like 10 minutes solo, a 10-minute Two's solo rant at the start.
It's true.
But this was the by-election that ran that night. Conservative Party 66%, Liberal 16%, NDP 12.5%. So the Liberal got like a third of what they had previously, and the NDP down to almost half of what they had previously.
This is also good. Mercedes Stephenson says, "I was supposed to have a year-end review with the Prime Minister tomorrow for Global News, and the PMO just called to tell us it is canceled. Not just us. Year-end interviews across the board not happening." And
He's hiding. Basically, I mean, he tested positive for Crisis 19, and he's updating his vacation status.
Couldn't happen to a better guy, Twos. Couldn't happen to a better guy.
It's great.
It's a cult. I assume you just want to show the tweets. Yes.
Yeah, basically. So you've got here's the thing is that one of the tenets of a cult is fanatical devotion to the leader. And another one is to just always toe the line. And the minute you deviate from what the leader says or what the official platform of the cult is that you are immediately ostracized by the entire community. You're just a persona non grata. And so here's a perfect example. This is one of the more prolific. We've got a couple of probably the most prolific TrueAnon tweeters here. So Freeland is nothing like Pierre. Freeland is well educated with experience. Resonates just fine with me. Chrystia is very bright. Christia's my MP. Thanks, PMJT and Chrystia. And then, facts matter. Freeland was pulled off finance file due to incompetence. Christia's cred is 0 now. She looks bad. So the same person that they're propping up, despite all this criticism, then becomes, because Chrystia Freeland leaves, basically goes scorched earth, leaves a grenade on her desk when she walks out the door. And now they're like, how could they do that to our beloved Justin? And then Vicky Campbell's another one where she says right to Chrystia Freeland's resignation tweet, "Your letter is unprofessional and speaks volumes about you," as 2 sentences. There's a fragment sentence there. Your timing, your motive, another fragment sentence. Is this an example of the real you? And perhaps a glimpse into why PM Trudeau decided to shuffle you. Don't start sentences with and or but. Now, I believe it's probably for the best. Very disappointed in you, to say the least. There's no subject in that sentence. It's all just butchered. Anyway, the point is that this is like the hugest, most pro Trudeau Twitter account, and then you want to go back into the Wayback Machine, and every time somebody says something justifiably bad about Freeland, she's jumping in and saying they're a bunch of jerks. And we've got just example after example after example. Because if you just go Chrystia or Freeland from her account, the only reason the Conservatives are going so heavy on Chrystia Freeland is because they suspect there's a good chance she'll be our next prime minister. Her brains, wit, and popularity scares the living shit right out of them.
You can't even read it.
She succeeds in everything she sets out to do. Is the perfect example of a strong, smart, and knowledgeable woman in politics. And all these tweets, they go on and on and on and on and on. And they're just going to pretend like they never said any of it and that she's always been a jerk.
The NDP are not a serious party. A top NDP official has said his party is willing to defeat the Liberals in a confidence vote if Justin Trudeau hasn't resigned by next February or March, a timeline that happens to coincide with leader Jagmeet Singh's pension eligibility. Just a coincidence. Quoted, if at the end of February or early March, we have the continued debacle that we're seeing here, and the Prime Minister has not stepped down, we simply cannot continue like this. So yes, the NDP, I want to make sure people hear this. It said, he literally said, so yes, the NDP, as the adults in the room, okay, would step up on that. We need Dak now to help people and stand up against the Trump administration.
All right. Now there's a few things there. They actually said that they would be willing to do an election, a non-confidence after they secured their pension. We got this. This is just, how the left can't meme?
Yes.
It says, jingle bells, Pierre will make you pay money for your cell phone bills. There's an elf holding a phone with money signs, and Poilievre's face is the elf, and it says, jingle bells, Pierre will make you pay. It's just, you can't take these guys seriously. But here's the big update this morning. And I said we've got some breaking news, and then you saw it right before we went live too. NDP leader Jagmeet Singh says his party will bring forward a motion of non-confidence to bring down the Trudeau government in the next sitting of the House of Commons. Now, the NDP, I literally talked about this happening on Monday. So for those of you who haven't seen it yet, basically the premise is this, is that the NDP, because they're socialist idiots, got somebody who can do math to figure out when is the earliest they could call an election after Jagmeet Singh's pension secures. Now, Parliament resumes January 27th. The shortest window for an election is 45 days. Jagmeet Singh secures his pension on February 28th of next year. So approximately 2 weeks after his pension is secured is when they're committing to have the earliest, that's the earliest possible window for them to do this, according to their statement. We've been saying this for months. It's the stupidest thing. I love the fact that Jagmeet Singh is basically burning down his party's credibility behind him as he walks away with a giant bag of money, because this is all anybody's going to think when they think NDP for the next 20 years, is this exact thing that everybody's been talking about, where if he goes back and on the first day they're back, there's a non-confidence vote, the earliest the election can be is 2 weeks after he secures that pension. He finally commits to it after House adjourns for Christmas, and they're not back for another month. So he's doing the exact same thing that everybody said he was doing.
Yes.
And they're going to get fucking massacred. Do you remember when everybody was so pissed off at the Conservatives in Alberta in 2015 that they're like, you know what? You guys are such assholes that we're going to vote NDP. Now the NDP are going to be like, you're such an asshole. We're going to vote, I don't know.
Probably conservative. I can't believe they had the gall to say we're the grown-ups in the room. Sorry. That line in there out of the interview, I was like, Did I hear that right? I heard that right. The adults in the room. Pooh. Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, just want to point out Zane says chooses the truth. Soothsayer.
And we got somebody listening from Peru. That's pretty cool. Update.
Oh, sorry.
Tues-
And that was it. I forgot to I got to yelling and everything like that. But I was gonna put that in as the update because it just broke this morning.
Welcome to Canada. Come for the healthcare. Stay because they chopped your leg off. And I mean, I don't even know if I need to, like that right there is it. Okay. A Manitoba woman had her right leg amputated after complications following a knee replacement surgery 2 months earlier. In late November, a surgeon at Winnipeg's Health Sciences Center began removing dead tissue from her right knee with the intention of stitching her up later that day after she was seen by an orthopedic surgeon at Concordia Hospital. She was sent to Concordia but couldn't be transferred back to HSC because there wasn't a bed available for the specialist to finish the procedure. Instead, she spent 8 days languishing at Concordia with a painful open wound. Once she finally got back to HSC after the 8 days, Milburn went under the knife for another infection, but due to the long delay in stitching up the wound, she was told her leg wasn't salvageable, and they removed her leg, Twos.
They cut her leg off. She'd been waiting, what was it, 5 years?
I think it's 6 years for the knee
So
replacement.
she'd been waiting 6 years for a knee replacement. And then when it finally happened, they didn't get their ducks in a row enough to make sure that she had the right bed at the right hospital to finish the fucking treatment. And so they just shipped her off somewhere else where they couldn't take care of her. And after that thing started getting gangrenous, they're like, yeah, it's going to have to go. This is our healthcare.
This is our healthcare, Raina. Chopped off her leg.
Yeah. So anyway, this is interesting. So Robin Urbach had this really good tweet. Said woman waits 6 years for knee replacement, gets surgery, but has complication, has to wait 8 days for follow-up procedure because there are no beds. Because of this delay, she now needs amputation. Can we stop defending Canada's atrocious healthcare system? And that's totally fucking fair. But here's somebody who jumps in and they say, a good time to remind everyone that federal health transfers to the provinces have never been higher, and the premiers, mostly conservative, have been hoarding the cash while letting Canadians die. Here's the thing, is it's mostly conservative. We have covered something like this happening in, I think, every fucking province in the country over the course of the mashup. Right? This isn't a conservative issue. This isn't an NDP issue. This isn't a liberal issue. This is systemic. And I know how much you lefties love that word.
You're triggering me on this side, Twos.
But yeah, it's not who's in charge of the sinking ship. It's the fact that it's got a bunch of fucking holes in the bottom.
Experts chime in. Well, I'm going to let Twos do his thing on this. But essentially, U.S. President-elect Donald Trump took another shot at Canada about becoming part of the United States. On Truth Social, he put out, no one can answer why we subsidize Canada, the tune of over $100 million a year. Makes no sense. Many Canadians want Canada to become the 51st state. They would save massively on taxes and military protection. I think it's a great idea. 51st state, exclamation point.
So here's the thing, is this is the article I want to talk about, not the actual conversation around it. Trump's jokes on Canada as the 51st state aren't funny, political analyst says.
But that headline's funny. That headline's really funny.
Goddamn hilarious. They're talking about whether something is funny or not. And they go to a guy named Stewart, a political science professor at UBC. He says that these are not jokes. They are an affront to Canada's sovereignty. For the record, nobody ever in the history of the name Stewart has ever been funny, nor has any political analyst. If you want to talk about whether something's funny or not, you get Uncle Hack. You get the Danger Cats to come on and say, here's what he said. Is it funny or not? You get a comedian like Joe Rogan or Theo Vaughn or whatever. You get QDM to give his 2 cents on something, or his toonie. But you don't do you get a political analyst named Stewart, and the entire discussion in this article is whether something is funny or not. This is so fucking retarded. By the way, shout out to QDM for having the best fucking merch I have ever seen in my life. Okay, and then this
Canadian made too.
I can't believe we missed it, but Winterpeg also just amputated the wrong leg for a fellow. Jason Kennedy is his name. It has Winnipeg's Grace. It was Winnipeg's Grace Hospital back in October. Have you ever seen like the funny, like you see it as a joke? Someone will have a picture on the internet when they're going in for an amputation or like a kidney removal or whatever else, and they'll draw on themselves and be like wrong side or not this one, cut this one, not this one, or whatever. Like this is basically our healthcare system. You know, it's funny. I had the thought while I was reading
funny,
it.
but
I
it's
was like,
so sad too.
I was like, well, thank fuck they at least amputated the correct leg in this instance.
I'm just happy that I'm a clean body of health right now. I got a clean bill of health. Because I don't know, man. Like you see these stories, I'm like, that can't like really.
Yep.
All right. This country deserves a better class of heist. No kidding. Show the video twos.
Okay, this is just it's bullshit.
This is in Kitchener Mall at a jewelry store.
Broad daylight.
Smash.
It's been happening all over the place. Vesper was asking us if we'd seen this, and I'm like, yeah, I've seen like 5 videos on the internet of this where guys literally just they'll come in broad daylight, smash open the cases, and steal a bunch of jewelry.
Correct.
Yeah. That's it. I don't know. It's classless. There's no imagination. There's no panache. There's no thought to it. You're just like,
Well,
yeah.
if you were robbing a place, or I guess if I was robbing a place, in my brain, I don't know if this, I assume it's out there somewhere. I would be doing the heist and I'm set for life. And I would be making sure nobody ever caught me. Like I never ever had to do it ever again.
Yeah, I'm not doing this.
Untraceable. No cameras, like or very little. Like I'm thinking this well through. I'm not walking in broad daylight into a mall and smashing the things and then running out. Like that screams of rookies. Just pure rookies.
Oh, it's pathetic. Like if I'm doing a heist, part of it is going to have Mrs. Twos in like a skin tight leather suit doing a whole bunch of jumps and flips over laser beams. And then I'm going to have Edison Motors as the getaway car. Hey, it's going to be beautiful. It's not going to be this classless idiot bullshit.
Anyone can get
better.
Anyone can get a crowbar and smash a jewelry store, folks.
I get the fact that our prime minister can't swing a hammer, but pretty much anybody else could have done this heist.
The media landscape is a shifting. Well, I mean, okay. Chris Cillizza apologized for his coverage of Biden while at CNN. Quoted as a reporter, I have a confession to make. I should have pushed harder earlier for more information about Joe Biden's mental and physical well-being and any signs of decline. All you had to do is open your eyes. Like, I mean, I read that and I'm like, you literally just had to open your eyes.
Everybody was talking about this, including myself, I'm sure, including yourself. I don't know if we even knew each other back then.
For 4 years?
But before that, even like I remember during the debate 4 years ago, I was like, what the hell kind of cocktail did they give that guy that he was able to form a coherent sentence on demand for an hour straight? And now they're like, oh yeah, we didn't know. We had no idea. I should have looked into this a little bit more. Literally everybody was screaming about this situation up on the rooftop. And you're like, well, we can't go up there because it's got too much of a slope on it.
Yeah. Do you want to show the Chris Como, Dave Smith? Do you want to show any part of that? Well, that's on Patrick Bet David. That's from probably, I want to say a couple months ago. Yeah, but it's fantastic.
It is. There's probably a spot about maybe 2 minutes into it.
It doesn't matter. Essentially,
right. Millions and I think billions of times. Right. And it was totally demonized. Why? You already said why. You said it 2 years too late. But you already said why.
No, here's
because
why.
No one owned it.
So,
here's why. What Pat
anyway,
has
the
on
point
his desk right
is
now,
that
you do not.
You got guys like Chris Cuomo. You got guys like Shank from the Young Turks, and you got whoever Chris Kaliza is.
Yeah.
Chris
Who
Kaliza.
is the guy? What's the black guy that went on X interviewed
Don
Elon
Lemon.
Musk? Don Lemon. Yeah, and that's another one. Oh man.
Anyway, the point is that these guys are realizing that the gravy train
idiots.
is coming to a stop. It's not that they're realizing they were idiots. It's they're realizing that the gravy train is coming to a stop and they need to jump on the other line. And so they're trying to just be like, oh yeah, I've had a new awakening. I'm trying to do things differently. You know, oh, I'm coming around to this way of thinking. No, you're full of shit. You're trying to go where you're going to get fucking paid, and that's it. And so, you know, I'd be really curious to see, you know, there's talk of, you know, some people in kind of similar Canadian circles that are like out of work perpetually. They're trying to rebrand themselves. And I'm wondering if they're going to try and do something like this. It'd be interesting to watch for.
Yes, they're going to realize it very, very soon, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bureaucrats are known for their riveting content. I don't know if I need to show anything else other than this. This is Kirk Lubimoff. He said Calgary Mayor has started her own podcast show, and 34 videos later, it has 41 subscribers and under 7,000 total views.
Yep. And now this would be a good FOIP is, you know, how much money did the city of Calgary spend on that podcast for her? Right. Or maybe
Mayor of the Year.
Mayor of the Year. And then here's from the Privy Council. And I couldn't even watch, like, it's basically my job to watch this, and I couldn't even watch all of it. But
yeah, I put it on 2-speed because I tried my best, but
yet government approved. So catch me up on your ideas.
Peut-être on peut être inspiré par les films populaires de film.
Now, I don't really know a whole lot of goddamn frogs out there, but I feel like they don't jump back and forth between English for entire sentences at a time in regular, honest conversation. And they're in the middle of a meeting. They don't even have their notebooks open. The one on the left brought a book and nothing to write on it with. And then they just go back and forth with just like they like look at the camera.
Seriously?
And
looks a little bit silly.
And this is it.
And I'm afraid.
You know, the funny thing is the idea
that it's just so bad.
They're mimicking The Office.
Yes.
And
which is just too on point for our government, by the way.
Correct. And well, that's about as good as the idea got. How's that?
You know what? I do like how on the nose, you know, the Justin Trudeau, Michael Scott comparisons would be. Yeah. Yeah. Except Michael Scott was a successful salesperson before they moved him into management. He wasn't a part-time snowboard instructor with a non-disclosure agreement from a private school.
Fancy socks. Goofy news. All right. We're going to rattle off some headlines here, okay? Syrian prisoner CNN help free was actually a hidden torturer from the Assad regime.
Yep.
Oops.
Florida man fined $1 million over code violations committed by previous homeowners.
Which included like garbage and not cutting the grass. How do you rack up $1 million fine that way?
No. It did did in their defense, it did get straightened out.
It did get straightened out. Killer captured by Google Maps while moving dismembered body in northern Spanish village. Literally, the cops could figure this out, stumped, and a Google vehicle goes by him in broad daylight and captures a photo of this guy putting it in the trunk.
Hauling the dead body out of the trunk.
Yeah, you can figure that out? Yeah.
All right, here. Now, people keep asking about this, and I'm happy to point it out every time. The hat I'm wearing, it's Alberta, and it's Ralph Klein in his famous giving the media the bird picture. And it's not on sale yet, but it damn well should be. Continue. What's our next one?
City of Bend to... No, actually, no, that's a lie. Immediately stop using. Health Canada warns balloon blowing kits could cause hallucinations. Don't let your kids around.
Apparently, there's a bunch of balloon blowing kits available on Amazon that have a bunch of gases in them that just make you high as fuck. So anyway, worth checking out. Link in the description. We make a little bit of money off of the links in the description, and it helps us pay for all. No.
Next show, me and Twos on our Festivus, we're blowing balloons, eh?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. We're not
man.
drinking scotch. We're just blowing balloons and getting high as hell.
City of Bend to Vandal. Stop putting googly eyes on statues.
Okay, for those of you who couldn't hear what he said, City of Bend in Oregon to Vandal. Stop putting googly eyes on statues. Apparently, he's been going around to all of the art pieces in town and putting giant googly eyes on them.
I think it's great.
Here's a couple deer
great.
with googly eyes. I don't know if there's any other pictures, but there was just basically all the statues in this town got giant googly eyes put on them, and they're just begging the community to stop.
Please stop putting googly eyes on the statues. BC thieves get a taste for cheese and butter as prices surge. Yeah, there's the picture. Twos has got it up. Once again, cheese and butter, very expensive in our country. And
it's so expensive. It's so expensive that there's a black market for it. So junkies are stealing from dairy shops. Like there's this specialty cheese store they talk about in the article that spent $5,000 on armed security during the Christmas season because the crackheads are stealing cheeses and trading them for drugs. And that is the most Canadian thing I can possibly think of.
And finally, come on, Edmonton. Edmonton Police Commissioner plans to serve 2 final years of his term from Portugal. Now, he's a board member. He's not the actual police commissioner. He's former police commissioner. But he plans to be on the board and serve it from Portugal.
Yeah, well, he looked at the rules and said, technically, there's nothing against this. It's like they didn't even think there was going to be a chance that someone would want to work from Portugal for the last 2 years of looking at local municipal law enforcement. Like, these idiots left a loophole, and he's going to exploit it.
Oh, man. If you get fined under a conspiracy theory, can you pay in tinfoil? Scottish government is reportedly looking at 2 options to help hit a key net zero measure. This should be interesting. One of which is a local daily charge for driving in large urban areas such as Glasgow and its surrounding areas, Edinburgh, Dundee, and Aberdeen. Another option would be charging per kilometer driven on any road. A Scottish government spokesman told the Scottish Daily Express, the Scottish government has been clear that reaching our target of a 20% reduction in car use by 2030 will require a broad combination of interventions, including infrastructure, incentives, and decentives. But don't worry, 15-minute cities, that's a conspiracy theory.
This transport demand management research was commissioned by Transport Scotland in June 2022 to add to the evidence base on how to reduce car use fairly in Scotland. The research was undertaken by independent consultancy and is not Scottish government policy.
That was well done. Well done. How the hell do I do an applause on this thing? There's got to be an applause. No?
You could just the old-fashioned way, I guess, maybe. There you go.
Slow clap for
Thank you,
Twos. Well done.
All right. Get ready, because here it comes again.
The government is on the verge of toppling. The Amazon has retaken civilization. The employees are forced to work in order to continue to be paid. The strike is forestalled. The only way that it would get better is if somehow you blended in Strong Eagle Man. That would be kind of cool. I would take that. We're talking about the postal strike, folks. They've been ordered back to work. And
we gotta get like an eagle sound effect that we can just throw in every once in a while. Like every time one of us says Strong Eagle Man, we just hit the button and it goes. Aah! Although apparently, whenever you hear that classic eagle sound for a bald eagle, it's a red-tailed hawk they use. They don't actually use a bald eagle because it sounds more like a croak.
And if you're worried about Canada Post, you've been like, oh, I can't wait to get some things sent off. No worries. Canada Post has issued this press release stating that priority will be made on letters to Santa Claus. So Yeah, your business mail. Not worried about it. We're gonna get Santa Claus all his mail, even though he can't read it in time, and kids may be disappointed. So there you go.
Yeah. Yeah. 'Cause, I mean, unions are all about made up problems. It's on brand for them. But yeah, for now, I guess they're back to work. For those of you who didn't notice, it's because nobody gives a shit.
Do you want to talk about Regina quick?
Oh, sure.
Just that the Regina, you know, part of your headline is about the fact that Regina postal workers are pissed. And it couldn't happen in a better place than Regina. So,
yeah, I love the part where he said that we feel as though we did this for nothing. We feel as though we accomplished nothing. And I would go so far as to say that you did less than nothing. You guys not working has done more to undermine your credibility than if you'd have just been working the whole time. But maybe that's just me.
weird trans stuff of the week.
Oh, wait, I'm missing the headline about the Senators, aren't I?
Yes, you are. And
Okay.
the LNG and the arson and the CBC.
Oh shit! I did it again.
Or is that all coming after? I don't know.
I need to get a bigger second monitor.
You know, honestly, this no, pull up the trans one. I'll read it while you're typing away. This could have been happy news, I think. Okay. So Disney, weird trans stuff of the week. Disney has decided to pull transgender storyline from their upcoming Pixar streaming series, Win or Lose. Disney's official statement: when it comes to animated content for a younger audience, we recognize that many parents would prefer to discuss certain subjects with their children on their own terms and timeline. I think that's a win. Myself, right? Like, I can't imagine.
But think about the fact that they were going to put
I 100% agree.
In the Little Mermaid, basically. Not like
the
the actual Little Mermaid, but just like
they were going to have
movie.
they were going to have a kids TV series with a trans storyline in it.
Like
that is
insane. I get it. You know, if you're doing Mr. Potato Head and you're like, oh look, detachable penis, right? You could do some kind of a Toy Story thing there, but the fact that they were looking at this seriously is fucking brutal.
No, shows exactly where our world's at, but they come to clear. You know, I don't know. Smarter minds prevailed. I don't even know what to say. The fact it's not happening is a win. It means maybe these big companies are catching a hint that maybe this isn't where the world wants us to go. You know, because they could have easily been the next Bud Light. Can you imagine if they put out a trans storyline in a kids animated series?
Here's the thing: is you know, as much as companies like BlackRock that have vested interest, and you know, say, look, you've got to do weird gay shit, or you're not going to get funding. It's gotten to the point now where they're like, we're better off not getting your capital investment than to do something that's going to tank our brand and cost us billions of dollars. So no, thank you. So the tides are turning. Yes, this easily could have been happy news of the week. The problem with the things turning around the way they have been since November 6th or 7th or so is that we can't just have just an entire episode of happy. What if we did an entire episode of happy news?
We could do that next week.
Festivus.
Right. Festivus.
We do just happy news and then we get into the Scotch.
Well, we have the Scotch while we're doing the Festivus news.
Okay. All right.
All right.
Here you go. Now we're going to go to the Senators.
Okay. Breaking. Trudeau is lying to us. I got to scroll back up here, folks. Give me 1 sec. Today, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau announced the appointment of Alistair Surrett and Nancy Karatek Lindell as independent senators for Nova Scotia and Nunavut. Twos, who did they both run for?
They both ran for the Liberal Party at various times.
You don't say they're independent, though, Twos. That would mean nothing.
They are independent. And it's interesting. I mean, if you go to elections, oh, shit. It fucking reset, didn't it? Okay. Anyway, if you go here and you go to this search and you go advanced search criteria, and then you put in the contributor's last name and first name, and then you select all, basically, you can see that there are 203 instances of Nancy Karatek Lindell donating to the Liberal Party going back decades. So yes, independent,
Independent.
consistent liberal donor over decades. 203 instances, I think, was what came up, and then and that's it. That's her. Independent.
And they both ran for the Liberals.
Yeah,
Let's not forget that.
they both not just ran for the Liberals, but they sat for the Liberals.
Sat for the Liberals, but they're independent.
Yep.
You know, you go from happy news to that. No business case for Liberals. You remember when Trudeau, they asked about LNG and he's like, there's, we're trying to hit climate change things here, folks. There's really no business case for LNG in the rest of the world. Okay. LNG exports not only contributing more than 400 billion to the US GDP, but also supporting hundreds of thousands of high-quality American jobs since 2016, and its estimated $1.3 trillion boost to the economy through 2040. So 1.3 trillion. There's no business case here in LNG, though.
No, $1.3 trillion. Just for perspective, that is double the amount of our federal debt over the entire course of the history of this country up until Trudeau got in. Or, for slightly easier math, $1.3 trillion, and that's US, by the way, without even taking that into account. $1.3 trillion is, if we had that, we would pay off every fucking penny that the government owes to everybody. And we would have a completely balanced book like a bunch of the developing countries in Africa we send billions to every year.
No business case here.
No business case at all.
Defang the CBC. Actually, no, I'm not sure where you got me going. Where do you got me going? Right here. My apologies. Right here. I'm going to go to the pleb. The pleb said the CBC has put bogus copyright claims on the following channels: the Pleb Reporter, Northern Perspective, This Guy's Garage, Portuguese Pie, MCGA, Unacceptable Fringe. And he was asking who else has been hit by these bogus claims.
Yeah, and so what had happened, Northern Perspective talked about it a little bit too, where CBC claimed incorrectly that they owned all of the rights to all of the recordings from parliamentary hearings. And so whenever places like the Pleb or Northern Perspective or any of the other ones showed clips of it, that they weren't fair use, they didn't fall under fair use, CBC owned them, and they were trying to get, and if the copyright claims were successful, first thing would have been that every penny that those accounts made from YouTube in those videos would go to CBC. And the second thing that would have happened is that it would have hamstrung a lot of people like this that cover things like that. We're not as clip heavy, so I don't think they cared about us. And we're not very YouTube heavy either, right? But that would have been a big thing.
We're starting to become more YouTube heavy. We've both been slapped with copyright stuff. So
yeah.
Anyways, carry on.
Yeah. And so anyways, it hamstrings people who try and do content that's based heavily on those clips. And then the third thing is it's going to discourage other people from doing the same thing. So they're going to be like, I'm going to put all this time, effort, and work into building up a YouTube channel. I'm going to give more of my fucking money to the CBC. And so anyway, update as of last night, I didn't see it till this morning, but Northern Perspective said that CBC has backed away from all of the copyright claims, and they've said, oops, are bad.
Yeah.
And
great journalism, CBC.
Yeah.
Nenshi is not a serious politician.
So the Nenshi clip?
Yeah, pull up the Nenshi clip.
It's thinking. Okay, so first off, there was a by-election in Lethbridge.
Yeah, I can pull
and
that.
He says, what an amazing night for an amazing person. Lethbridge, we said you deserve better, and you delivered better. I would just like to point out that this by-election was to replace Shannon Phillips, an NDP MLA. You deserved better than our other NDP MLA, so we've got this MLA for you. It's been, I don't know, for just about 20 years, it's been an NDP stronghold seat, and there you go. They did worse. They lost 0.5% compared to last time, and UCP was up 2.4%. So, yeah, did they win it? Yes. Were they expected to win it? Also, yes.
Dumb question. What I feel like I should know this. What is ABP?
Alberta Party.
Alberta. Oh, yeah, duh. Okay. Yeah, you're right. That was a dumb question. Welcome to Friday, folks.
That's okay. And here's the other thing. All right. Now I'm not a huge expert on fentanyl, so I got Grok to help me out with this a little bit. But here's the clip for context.
44 pounds of fentanyl caught at the Alberta Montana border. That sounds like a lot. It's not a lot.
Now, it's not a lot if you weigh 350 pounds. I'll say that.
The fact that a politician would say that is just like, you're an idiot.
Like, well, I mean, it's enough to kill, according to Grok. It's street value of between $3 and $4 million, and it's enough to kill about 10 million people.
10 million people?
Assuming, and then Grok was very clear that it doesn't take into account any built-up tolerance among certain parts of the population.
Sure.
And it's assuming a perfectly even dose distributed across all 10 million people.
Only 10 million people.
You could kill 10 million people with that, provided you got everybody the exact same dose, and none of them had built up a resistance towards fentanyl.
I mean, honestly, NEP is not a serious party.
Yeah, in terms of poundage,
Nenshi is not a serious politician.
I mean, it'd be like if you got caught with, I don't know.
Why wouldn't Nenshi run in the stronghold twos?
Because it's not a huge stronghold. It's a weak stronghold, I guess. So yeah, they've won it for like 20 years, but they're not winning it by big amounts. I think they won it by a big amount in 2015, if I remember correctly. But it's not like Edmonton where they're going to get 80% of the votes. He's not going to run in Calgary because people in Calgary fucking hate that guy. And everybody who left Calgary when he was around fucking hate that guy. And so he's not going to run in Calgary. He's going to take Notley's old seat.
Because like the thing people have to remember is he's not a sitting MLA right now.
I don't think he does a lot of standing, Sean.
Sure. I just mean like he's actually like, so they just had a by-election where he could have ran and he didn't. Yep.
He's basically doing, well, I mean, it's the same thing that Singh did for a while. He was leader of the party for, I think, 2 years before he ran in a by-election. And then he lost the first one, and then he had to win a second one. If I remember correctly, I think that's how it played out. But even look at Maxime Bernier. Maxime Bernier is the leader of a party and doesn't have a seat.
Sure. But you're talking about, the official opposition of the current Alberta government.
Yep.
I mean,
the NDP, Sean, I don't know if I've ever told you this or not.
Not a serious party?
They are not a serious party.
Another tragic COVID death. Where am I looking? Oh, yeah, never mind.
It's
Central, is it Saanich Police Services?
Saanich? Yeah.
I don't know. Officer charged with sexual assault on Tuesday has died. Several police sources say Matthew Ball died by suicide Tuesday. News of his death came on one day after the 43-year-old was charged with one count each of sexual assault and breach of trust following the completion of an investigation by the Vancouver Police Department. Revealing their findings Tuesday, VPD Deputy Chief Fiona Wilson said Ball and another officer, Ryan Johnston, allegedly both had inappropriate sexual contact with a woman they met on duty.
Ball and Johnson. Is anybody surprised by that? I mean, the guy killed himself, right? Rather than facing up to what happened. Interesting thing, though, is that...
Man, would you look at the size of that? Johnson, get over here.
Yeah, exactly. He said the members had been suspended and the service was moving to suspend them without pay after consulting with senior legal counsel. How many times have we talked about some really fucking dark shit that cops have done and been suspended with pay, sometimes for years?
Yes.
And so for for them to look at suspending them without pay. I don't know the finer points of it, but a suspension without pay is like the union equivalent of the fucking electric chair. So
it must have been some pretty serious stuff is what you're pointing to. Yes?
Yeah. But of course, everybody's tight-lipped about it. So whatever.
Ottawa cowers from Smith and the pension plan. Alberta Premier Daniel Smith says the province has heard back from Canada's chief actuary on its bid to leave Canada pension plan, but says there's no estimate on how much the province should get. This is a total government stall, man. The province has been waiting for months for the review and a figure. Smith said Thursday our government will follow up to get clarity on the next steps following an unexpected federal cabinet shuffle. Quoted, we're a bit disappointed because we were under the impression that the chief actuary was hiring 3 different analysts to look at the legislation to be able to get 3 very precise ways of looking at this issue so that we had a precise number. They've been given no number, and now they're going to follow up, and it's Christmas. So just push this out until it's past the election before we this is going nowhere. This is going nowhere.
It is. And it's on Smith for not pushing harder on this. It's on the UCP for not pushing harder on this. They should have been talking about this every week, but also the federal government. So here's the thing is that according to the study they did, Alberta is entitled to $334 billion of the 500 and change of the Canada pension plan. That if they were to leave, they should get that cut of it. And they have the math to back it up. Now, it's interesting, like anything in accounting, it's more of a art than a science. And so, like, even Trevor Tombe had said, he's like, actually, it's actually a lot less than that. Instead of only about half of it, or over half of it, they should only get about 25% of it. And that falls roughly in line with that $100 billion. But here's the thing, is Alberta's 10% of the population of Canada. And if Alberta, as 10%, is entitled to 25% of the pension, that means, yeah, they're overpaying by a factor of 2.5 times. So, your best argument is, yeah, they're only paying 2.5 times more than everybody else's. Your numbers are crazy. They're only doing 2.5 times more, not like 2.5% more. But like between double and triple what everybody else is paying in Canada. And so they just didn't do any kind of a reply. They didn't say, oh, your numbers are off by a little bit, or they're a little bit stodgy. We got 3 different analysts to look at it, and we're not going to release the numbers. That's how bad the numbers are.
We're going to drag this on for a while.
Yep.
Happy news. Fake nurses, no doctor on site. Staff who like to party. A luxury Muskego addiction rehab center out in the middle of the country. Sounds like it's a party house. And then I think you got to show. What are you talking about? Happy news?
Yeah, what did you have? I have no idea what the hell you're talking about right now.
Oh, that was in your happy news. And I was like, well, that's some interesting happy news. A bunch of addicts going to a addiction place to get help and paying big bucks, anywhere $100,000, $300,000, or sorry, $30,000 to $100,000, and then you have no idea what I'm talking about. Well, you put it in the happy news, and I looked at it.
I'm looking at I'm looking at it in the happy news right now, and here's the article: is the star.com/GTA/Toronto school boards are firing teachers who lie about sick days and using private investigators.
Oh.
And then the second one is about the darts. I'm looking at the link right now, and I'm looking at the page right here, and I have no idea what the hell you're talking about.
Well, there you go. The other one is show the video.
Where
show the
did
happy
you even get this from? I have no idea what this.
I clicked on the link. Show the video while you're showing the video. I'll see if I can't find.
Okay, well, before the video, Toronto school boards are firing people. So apparently there was like 5 teachers who called in sick and a vice president who knew about it ahead of time. They all went to the casino for the day. They called in sick, went to the casino for the day, and everybody got sacked. And so now, because there's been this blatant disrespect in quite a few public sector areas. This Toronto school board is saying you've got so many teachers calling in sick all the fucking time that we've actually hired private investigators to follow them around and see if they're full of shit or not. And then when they are, they're getting fired for basically breach of trust as far as, being entrusted with our fucking money. And so I think that's great. And then here is a perfect dart game. Oh, shit.
Crowd rise. Christian Kist, can he deliver? On the biggest stage of all, Christian Kist!
Boom.
Don't you just want to go to this place just to experience the atmosphere?
Look at this.
Look at this place.
It's like going to a lacrosse game. And I imagine that everybody in that crowd is shit.
There was no mistake.
Here's what I read, too. Fake nurses, no doctor on site, staff who like to party, the inside story of this luxury Muskego addiction rehab center. And I chuckled about this. I'm like, I don't know if this is happy news, but okay. And
no, like I'm literally clicking on the link right now and it takes me to this article here.
I have no idea where I went, folks. No idea. Community news or community notes. Sean went down a rabbit hole and doesn't know how he got there. Community notes.
Okay, all right. Here's a good community note for you.
The Canada Post strike has ended, and today they started taking packages again. So we have shipped all of your items. The merch store was backlogged. It's all shipped.
Edison
We
Motors.
did miss Boxing Day. We weren't able to do a sale because the post office was closed. So we're going to do a week-long Christmas sale. You can get 20% off our merch store. Use the code INVEST. Now, if you're American, you get an additional 31% Justin Trudeau ruined the Canadian dollar discount through the conversion rate. And that works out to over 50% discount. So check out our merch store, www.edisonmotors.ca/shop.
Shout out to Edison Motors.
We also got a restock.
Yeah. So, anyway.
Chase Barber is going to be speaking at the Cornerstone Forum in Calgary May 10th and got a ton of time for Edison Motors. Shout out to Jamie Sinclair on that one. That's the guy who put it on my radar.
Yep. So there's a community note, and then apparently Sean's other community note is some rehab clinic in Muskoka.
There's a SAT market at the White Diamond Conference Center in Calgary, Alberta, December 15th, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. The SAT market is a community-driven marketplace that empowers local vendors by embracing the sovereignty of Bitcoin and cash transactions, farmers, tradespeople, artists, and more. So that's December 15th. I'm already past it. What am I reading here, twos?
Well,
we're at December 20th.
What's a SAT anyway, Sean?
Small form of Bitcoin? I don't know.
Yeah.
May 10th,
it's like you never listen to a word that Vance Crowe says.
May 10th, 2025, Cornerstone Forum, Calgary, Alberta. Tom Luongo, Alex Craner, Chuck Product, Chase Barber, Kalen Ford, Matt Arendt, Ben Barron, Rod Giltaka, Chris Sims, Todd Bobrovix, and we got a big name being announced Sunday night on Substack. So if you're interested in seeing who another name coming is, maybe head on over to the Sean Newman Podcast Substack. Yeah, that's what I got for you today.
Can you tell me now? I promise not to tell anybody. It's just us. It's just us.
No, I can't. I can't do that. Can't do that, boys and girls.
Hey,
and
Carmen
if you want to get,
go ahead. Sorry.
If you want to get tickets, I just threw it in the chat there on Facebook and YouTube.
They're the cheapest they're going to be because they're going up in a couple weeks, and there's going to
January
be
1st, December 31st.
around.
The last. That's right. Early bird tickets. But if you want to buy a table to sit with 222 minutes, I don't know why you'd want to do that. Why you'd want to subject yourself to that pain. You can do that January 1st.
Someone's going to buy it just so I sit by myself. They'll be like,
possible.
we're doing this for the good of humanity.
Carmen Zach says, Vermilion Farm Curl Bonspiel mid-January. Put in a team and have some fun. Hey, Carmen. Twos, anything else before we sign off on Mashup 138?
That's basically it, my brother.
Okay, so next week is Mashup 139. It is going to, well, actually, we're just going to call it Festivus. It won't be a mashup number. We're going to have, every year, me and Twos, in between Christmas and New Year's, do a thing called Festivus, where we have a celebratory scotch, and then, we're going to do some happy news. We're going to talk about some things, And we've never have we live streamed it? Did we live stream it last year? I don't know if we did.
I don't know.
This might be a first.
Did we get the call-in feature figured out that we've been working on?
We're gonna try and have that figured out for next week. So
You
that's
may
gonna
have an option to call in.
call in. You may have an option to call in if we can get it working. Either way, show up with a festive beverage. You know, if you're a Bailey's person, obviously it's gonna be the morning. We get it. But we're gonna do Festivus next week on Friday, same time, same place. Me and Twos. Yeah, we're gonna enjoy the holidays. Happy holidays, everyone. Merry Christmas. And Twos, I don't know if you got anything else, but
again.
What?
It's a Christmas miracle. We can say that again now.
What's that? Christmas?
Merry Christmas.
Oh, Merry Christmas. If you're traveling, safe travels, and just travel safe, folks. Be responsible. Please don't drink and drive. We just, not that it was a drink and drive accident where we had a bad accident. We've had a couple of bad accidents out this way, and I'm not sure if any of them were alcohol related or just road condition related, but be careful out there. And we'll catch up to you guys next week. Mashup Mashup Festivus coming next week. And heck, let's we're gonna leave it with we're gonna outro it with the theme song.
All right.
And
thanks again, Kevin.
Yeah, thanks again, and we will catch up to you next week, folks.
Welcome to the mashup.
Tell me whether I'm wrong or right. East or west, up or down, side to side. I sit to stand and fall to fly. Of all of my impulsive plans, pop and lock and salsa dances on demand. I follow leading off the map and stop the chatter, scream happily.
Welcome to the mashup.
Welcome to the mashup. Welcome to the mashup.